Imagine you're standing in a store in front of a shelf of olive oil. Beautiful bottles, bright labels, Italy, Spain, Greece. Everything seems high quality. But do you know what's really scary? 8 out of 10 bottles on store shelves are counterfeit. Yes, you heard that right. The oil you're bringing home in hopes of better health and longevity may actually be a fake. In this video, I'll explain exactly how consumers are being deceived. Not rumors, but real facts. Police raids and scientific studies, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself. The first method is dilution with cheap oils. This trick is like adding water to wine, only instead of water, it's sunflower, soybean, or corn oil. Imagine this, you're paying for health, for antioxidants, for elite flavor, but in reality, you're getting an oily blend in which the only thing from real olive oil is the smell. And even that is artificial. Why do scammers do this? It's simple. A liter of sunflower oil costs 3 to 4 times less than olive oil. Add 30 to 50% of it, and there you have it. Extra virgin on paper, but in reality, deception. In 2023, over 260,000 liters of such fake oil were seized by police in Europe alone. This isn't just a little scam. These are entire factories, tankers, supply chains. The scale is massive and the profits are in the millions. How do you protect yourself? First, always look for the label, 100% extra virgin olive oil. Avoid words like blended or refined. Second, check for certifications such as NAOA in the US or COOC in California. And remember, quality oil doesn't come cheap. If the price seems too good, you're probably buying a fake. The second method is substituting extra virgin with refined oil. This is a different level of fraud. Here they don't dilute, they simply pour in a completely different oil. Refined. It's chemically purified, deodorized, colored, and then sold as first cold press oil. Why is it dangerous? It has almost no vitamins, no antioxidants, no polyphenols. It's just a fatty substance, dead in terms of health benefits. You can use it for frying, but not as a health product. The loudest scandal on this topic was the golden oil operation in Italy. An entire mafia network was busted for replacing real oil with refined. They had labs, fake documents, even falsified lab tests. Their shipments went to Spain, Germany, and the US. The scale was industrial. How not to fall for it? Real extra virgin always has acidity below 0.8%. This can be verified. If the producer is honest, they will indicate it. And another sure method is taste. Real oil should be slightly bitter, a bit astringent, even slightly peppery, not bland like sunflower oil. The third method is color falsification. Yes, even the color is faked. People are used to thinking that green oil means fresh, high quality, young, and that's exactly what scammers exploit. They add chlorophyll or beta-carotene to create the right color. And there it is, a green bottle in front of you, like something from a fairy tale. But it's not a fairy tale, it's stage makeup. In 2024, Italian police seized 71 tons of oil in which scammers had added synthetic chlorophyll. Do you know where that coloring came from? Textile dye. All for the sake of visual appeal. What should you do? Don't trust your eyes. The color of oil isn't an indicator. It can be green, golden, or cloudy. It all depends on the olive variety, ripeness, and filtration method. Pour some oil into a white cup. If the color looks too bright, acid green like a highlighter, it's probably a fake. The fourth trick is selling old oil as if it were fresh. Just imagine. You pick up a bottle labeled bottled in 2024. Sounds fine, right? But what if inside is oil from the 2021 harvest? That means the oil is 3 years old. During that time, it has lost almost all its polyphenols, oxidized, and turned from a superfood into just plain fat. Unfortunately, this is not uncommon. Many producers deliberately hide the harvest date, and only indicate the bottling date so you don't realize the oil is old. The European Union officially stated in 2024 that the number of such falsifications has tripled compared to previous years. And it's not just small companies, but big players too. Why is this dangerous? Because over time, the polyphenols in the oil break down, the aroma disappears, and the fatty acids oxidize. You don't get the health benefits you paid for. Moreover, harmful compounds can form in oxidized oil, especially if it was stored in the light or at high temperatures. How to protect yourself? It's simple. Don't trust the bottling date. Look for the harvest date, the actual harvest year. If it's not there, don't buy the oil. A producer who has something to hide will always omit these details. The fifth trick is a false country of origin. This is one of the most deceptive tricks. The label has Italia written in big letters. The bottle is decorated with a flag, some olives with a Tuscan backdrop. But in reality, it's oil from Tunisia, Turkey, or Greece, just bottled in Italy. The price difference between oil from Tunisia and oil from Tuscany can be 2 or even 3 times. But you pay as if it's an Italian product, when inside is a completely different region, different raw materials, different technology. And yes, Tunisian oil can be perfectly fine. The issue is honesty. The biggest scandal was with the Bertolli brand. They were sued in the US for claiming imported from Italy, while the oil was actually produced in other countries and only bottled in Italy. The result? A $7 million fine and a global scandal. How not to fall for it? Very simple. Look at the wording. If it says product of Italy, it's truly of Italian origin. But if it says bottled in Italy, it could be a blend from anywhere. A reputable brand will always indicate the country of harvest and origin, not just the bottling location. The 6th method is selling cheap olive varieties as elite ones. This scheme is simple and crude. They take overripe, spoiled, or poorly selected olives, make oil from them, then slap on pretty words like Arbequina, organic, farm-made, or premium. And they sell it at the price of real extra virgin. But do you know what independent inspections in Spain and Canada found? Up to 1/3 of such oils did not meet the basic extra virgin standards, neither in taste nor in chemical composition. That means oxidized fatty acids, high acidity, lack of aroma, soapy or rancid taste. Such oil may not be dangerous, but it offers no benefits. Not for your blood vessels, not for your liver, not for your skin. How not to be deceived? A real producer will always indicate the olive variety, for example, Arbequina, Picual, or Koronaki. They will also mention the region, Catalonia, Tuscany, Crete, and if the label only has marketing fluff like gourmet or nature's gold, you're looking at a show, not a product. 7th trick, mixing old oil with fresh. This is a clever compromise used by dishonest producers to avoid losing money. Somewhere in their warehouse, they have leftover oil from the previous year. It's no longer selling, it no longer smells, the taste has become flat. But throw it away? No way. They take fresh oil, add about 20% of it, and voila, you're holding extra virgin 2024 again. In reality, this is oil with an expired heart. It's already started to break down. Studies show that after 1 year of storage under normal conditions, almost all phenolic compounds disappear from the oil, the very antioxidants we buy it for. These are the protectors of the heart, blood vessels, skin, and liver. Without them, you're just eating fat. And this oil has no taste either. It becomes oily, soapy, bland, no bitterness, no sharpness. And that's a key sign of real fresh EVOO. How to protect yourself? There's only one way: tasting. When you try quality extra virgin, it's slightly bitter and gives a small burn in the throat. That's not a defect, that's a signal. You've got a living product in front of you. If the taste is flat, something's been added and not in your favor. 8th trick, improper storage. This type of fraud is especially frustrating because it can happen even without malicious intent. The producer is honest, the oil is real, but at some stage, it all gets ruined. Where? In the warehouse, in the supermarket, or on your shelf at home. Olive oil is a living product. It's afraid of light, heat, and air, especially light. If the bottle stands on a shelf under a lamp or near a window, in clear packaging, that's it. In just a couple of weeks, it starts to oxidize, losing taste, aroma, and vitamins. Irreversible chemical changes begin. In 2024, there was a major scandal in Italy. The police and quality inspections seized almost 500,000 liters of oil ruined due to poor storage. Imagine that. No recipe fraud, everything was legit, but the product was destroyed. How to stay safe? First, only buy oil in a dark bottle or metal can. Second, never take oil from a shelf where light shines directly on it, even if it smiles at you with a 30% discount. That's not a benefit anymore, that's harm. And at home, keep the bottle in a drawer, in a cabinet, not on the windowsill. 9th trick, fake organic oil. That green leaf on the bottle, you see it and you instantly feel trust. It's organic, it's bio, so it must be healthy, eco-friendly, safe, right? But here's the thing, that little leaf could just be decoration, as fake as plastic grapes in a display case. Today's organic trend is insane, and producers know it very well. That's why many simply slap the words organic, eco, or natural on the bottle without any official certification. And the price, twice as high as usual. And you, unaware, pay for a promise that doesn't exist. The law requires, if the oil is truly organic, it must have an official label. In the US, that's USDA Organic. In Europe, EU Organic, a green leaf with white stars. And most importantly, next to the logo must be a registration number or the code of the certification body. That's how you verify authenticity. It's like a car's VIN code, unique and public. Want to check it? Enter the number on the official USDA website or in the European Organic Database. If the number is fake, the site will show nothing. But if it's legit, you'll see the farm, country, producer, even the certification date. Spend 1 minute and save not just money, but your health. And finally, the 10th, the most dangerous method of fraud, counterfeit. This isn't just trickery. This is a crime. Because in this case, you're not just buying fake oil, you're buying a fake bottle, a fake brand, a fake product. On the outside, everything looks perfect. Same shape, same fonts, same logo, even a foil cap. But inside, an unknown liquid no chemist has ever tested in a lab. Counterfeit is like fake money. It harms not just you, but the producer, the market, and trust in everything on the shelf. In 2023, the largest criminal case for oil counterfeiting was uncovered in Spain and Italy. Dozens of people were arrested. Over 380 tons of fake product were seized. That's more than the weight of an entire passenger airplane. And all of it heading for the tables of ordinary people. How not to fall for it? Never, never buy olive oil from open markets by hand, from suspicious websites, or from unknown sellers on social media. Buy only from official stores or those who work directly with the producer. And inspect the bottle carefully. Scratched labels, a slightly crooked logo, packaging that looks like it came from AliExpress, these are all red flags. A real brand pays attention to details. It has perfect printing, high-quality glass, clear text, and if you feel something's off, don't risk it. Because the outside might look premium, but inside, it's a liquid without taste, without benefit, and sometimes even with toxic additives. Watch more videos on this topic on our channel. If you have any questions or something to say, leave a comment. You'll find more information on this topic via the links in the description under this video and on our channel.